Welcome, Melissa, to the podcast. I'm so excited to have you. How are you?
Oh, I'm so good. And thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to chat today.
Honestly, it's going to be such an empowering and educational conversation, but it's also just going to be super chill, which I think is just so great. I love to start off my guest episodes with what is your most embarrassing or funny period story, if you have one that comes to mind.
I do. And I've never told this. Sorry. I remember really early on. So I probably only had like two or three periods. And my friend was gave me a tampon, and she was trying to like, it was at school in the girls' bathrooms, and like through the door she was trying to instruct me on how to put it in, and I was just like, it's not going in, I don't know how to do it. Yeah, really vivid memories of that. And really not like it's a really nice memory. Like even though it's kind of embarrassing, it's kind of like the beginning of that like sisterhood of
Yeah.
sharing stories and tips and
Yeah,
yeah,
I love
teaching each
that.
other. Yeah.
Exactly. That's what it is. It's like you
Yeah.
looking back, you were so just like innocent. And it was just like in the moment, it felt like, probably your whole world was crashing down. Like, I
Yeah.
can't get this thing in.
Yeah.
But like looking back on it, it's like, oh, that's actually so sweet. And like it's building that like sisterhood, which is just
Mm,
so beautiful. Thank you
yeah.
for sharing.
Yeah, I'll share that more often.
I I
Thanks for
love starting.
reminding me.
Of course. I love starting off like the episodes with that question, and it's only something I've just brought into to season 3. And I just feel like it's something that we kind of just don't talk about, but it's like
Mm,
reflecting on that, like whatever like story it is, it's just like it happens to all of us
yeah.
at
Yep.
some stage. So it's just really cool to bring that to the light. But I would love to get into a little bit about who you are, how you discovered seed cycling, and a bit of your journey.
Oh yes, it's a long journey and a bit
Hmm.
of a story, but I would love to share with you. So my background is in functional nutrition, and I'm also an EFT, which stands for Emotional Freedom Techniques practitioner. And to be honest, seed cycling and hormone health in general didn't really come on the scene for me till I was quite a few years in working with clients. So I had a practice in Canberra called Functional Health Canberra, and I was priding myself on this holistic approach of functional nutrition, which is this beautiful philosophy of vitalism, and that our bodies have an innate intelligence, and all we need is the right tools and resources to heal, adapt, and thrive. And EFT, which is, oh, if you don't know about EFT, look it up because it's just such a powerful way to support your nervous system, to reduce cortisol levels. And I was using it with my clients to really help them heal their relationship with food and their bodies. And particularly when it comes to relationship with food, we can have these underlying, and our bodies, we can have these underlying core beliefs. And so EFT was just a really great modality to use to help with that side of things. And at the time when I started, gut health was really trendy. So I was really into like microbiome and fermented foods. But yeah, like hormones weren't sexy, wasn't really interested. I wasn't even really asking women like what their cycles were like, or,
Mhm.
if they had a regular cycle, or anything like that, if I'm really honest. And it got to a stage where it was like, every single woman I was working with, there was a commonality in the symptoms, and it was all leading to hormones. Like women would say things like, Mel, I was doing so well. And then my PMS hit, and I had these huge cravings and anxiety, and I couldn't sleep. And then I started, binging, or, I had clients who were really struggling through perimenopause, like, Mel, I feel like I am losing my mind. Like, I don't know what to do. And then I had a client who was on the pill but didn't want to be anymore, but was so afraid to get off because she went on it for hormonal acne. And it was just like, I knew at that point that we had to address the underlying root cause of the symptoms, which was a hormone imbalance. And I was like,
Yeah.
I don't even remember much about what I studied when it came to hormones. I need to start looking into it. And so I started researching. Um, and I specifically remember having this thought of like, there's got to be some foods we can add in to support their hormones. And I just knew, like, particularly like my clients who the goal was weight loss, even all, energy, vitality, like, we had to, like, we were just pushing shit uphill if we weren't addressing the hormone
Yeah.
imbalance. And so when I had that thought about the food as medicine, because that's really what I believe in, I came across seed cycling. And the
Mhm.
first article I read was by Dr. Jolene Brighton. So she's a hormone specialist in the US, and she was talking about this thing called seed cycling, which she uses with her patients to help them get off the pill, to help with PMS, to help with perimenopause. And she goes into detail and explains how it works and the science of the individual seeds. At that time, there wasn't science specifically on seed cycling. There now is, which is
Mhm.
incredible. But at the time, there was still a huge body of research for the individual seeds and the way they modulate hormones for women, particularly our
Yeah.
key female sex hormones, estrogen and progesterone. So that got me really interested. But then that also got me interested in the phases of the menstrual cycle, which I had never heard before, So I saw the word follicular, luteal, ovulation I knew about, but not much.
Yeah.
And so that really then led me to Elisa Viti's book In the Flow, and cycle syncing. And then within cycle syncing, there's seed cycling. So again, Elisa Viti was talking about seed cycling, and I was just like, this just makes so much sense. Like, as women, our hormones operate differently to men, and we operate on this infradian rhythm, a 28-day cycle. So, it all started clicking. So it makes sense that we have different nutrient requirements, different energy requirements, different training requirements. And seed cycling is just so clever how it works in terms of giving your body the nutrients it needs in the phase that you're in to support your hormones. And so that's where seed cycling came up. I started using it with my clients, and it was like that missing puzzle piece. And
Yeah.
for ages then, it was just like, okay, tick off that hormone box, everything's back on track. I'm offering that holistic approach, and it felt really good to be able to do that and bring in hormone health in
Mm.
terms of what I was offering. And then the seed cycle really came about because, again, like, I just saw this need with my clients of like, they would say things like, Mel, it's all too hard. Like, I keep forgetting what seeds they are.
Yeah.
And like the ones that would go out and buy the seeds, certified organic, and we can go through all that,
Yeah.
grind them up, and do the practice. It was incredible. But then the others who weren't, they would come back every session, and the same kind of symptoms would come up,
Yeah.
and I'd say, have you done seed cycling? And they'd be like, oh, it's all too hard. So that's where I started packaging for my clients, and it's grown from there.
That's so beautiful that it's almost like so divine how it just kept coming to you. And it's
Mm.
like beautifully like encapsulates your philosophy as like food is medicine. And you knew there was something there and you just kept on coming across it. It's just so like special to hear that. Because it's like you can't ignore those messages sometimes. And it's like, okay, this is actually coming to me for a reason.
Oh,
Um,
yes. I sometimes, like, well, I say this quite often. I'm like, I feel like the universe has the seed cycles back, and so, like, I'm the one getting in the way sometimes with my own crap. Like, just got to get out of the way because it does. It's just like, yeah, things come to you, and it's been a journey, I tell you.
And it's totally trusting in the difference of like, not other functional nutritionists are probably doing that. It's a new thing. You're introducing this new thing to your clients. They're even probably a little bit skeptical at the start, and it's just still trusting in that, like, okay, there is some evidence on this, like, let's just see how it goes. And then just like building like the trust with the seed cycling for yourself to just continue that journey, I think is just really, really cool. Um,
Yeah. You know what? I've never struggled with that because I am just such a believer in our bodies and nature. And, I can spot, a trend or, something that's like diet culture a mile away because it doesn't have those roots. It
Mhm.
doesn't have that root in nature. And so
Yeah.
this is where, since I understood that and embody that, it's easy now. And like people do say to me, like, it's so overwhelming. There's so much information. Like, how do you know who to trust? And it's like if you go back to nature and our innate intelligence of our body, like you can't go wrong. And then also, like when I'm explaining seed cycling, like I want it to be a hell yes in your gut. Like, yeah, this
Mhm.
sounds amazing. This is what I need to do.
Yeah.
Because our gut, you know, our intuition's right.
Yeah. I love that so much. I feel like I have so many questions and so many directions I want to take it, but I feel like the first one I should ask is what actually is seed cycling?
Yeah, so seed cycling, you can call it biohacking your menstrual cycle, which sounds really cool, but really the practice is using food as medicine.
Mhm.
And the way it works is that there's four key seeds, seeds that you probably already have in your pantry and recognize, which is flaxseed and pumpkin seed, sunflower seeds, and sesame seeds. And the whole concept is that the nutrients in these seeds support the production and elimination of our key two female sex hormones, estrogen and progesterone. And so the way it works, we're having flaxseed and pumpkin seed in the first half of our cycle. So from day one of your bleed till around day 14 or ovulation. And in that phase, those nutrients, like the superhero nutrients, omega-3, zinc, magnesium, iron, lignans, which are a form of phytoestrogens, and the lignans in particular work really clever with our bodies on a cellular level. So we have estrogen receptor cells all over our body, and that when you're having that lignan, it acts like a plug and plugs into that receptor and tells that receptor what to do. So for some, it might be block that production of estrogen. For others, it might be make more. And then in the second phase, so from day 15 back to day one of your cycle. So the luteal second half of your cycle, you're having the sesame seed and sunflower seed. Sunflower seeds are really high in vitamin E, and
Mhm.
this is important for progesterone production, but also our skin.
Mhm.
So women will say the two common things that I hear all the time within the first month of seed cycling, women will say, gosh, my skin's cleared up. It feels so bright. And then also my gut, I feel less bloated. I'm going to the bathroom more regularly. And that's all those beautiful fibers in the seeds as well. So that's how it works. It is really simple. It can feel complex if you don't understand your cycle.
Yeah.
But this is what I love about seed cycling as well is to seed cycle, you need to understand your cycle and know
Mhm.
where you're at in your cycle. And then that's bringing a whole nother level of body literacy, which is
Mhm.
so important. And for myself and what I've found with my clients as well, it's another level of self-acceptance and self-love.
Totally.
For so long I was like, I want to be confident, I want to love myself, I want to, I want all these things. Oh, but I hate having my period. I hate being a woman. Like, like to really be confident and to to be on that self-love journey, you have to love all of yourself. And so that was a huge part, that body literacy and understanding my cycle and working with my cycle was a huge part of that. And seed cycling such a great way to do that.
Mhm.
The other part of seed cycling, which I just love, but can also be a bit woo for people, is if you have an irregular cycle, if you're going through perimenopause, if you're on the pill, if you don't know where your cycle's at, or even conditions like PCOS and endo, you use the moon phases to seed cycle. And I
Mhm.
think this is why seed cycling was kind of put in the woo-woo
Yeah.
world. But it's just so clever because the moon phases and a menstrual cycle are the same length of
Yeah.
time, and that's no coincidence. And when you look at throughout history, women have used the moon to regulate their cycles to support fertility. So what you're doing there is having phase one from a new moon and phase two from a full moon, and cycling that way to help your body connect with that rhythm.
Yeah. And I totally agree with you. It's such a big thing that I see in women is sometimes it's actually the lack of connection to yourself. Sometimes women only have to start tracking their cycle for, the first just one cycle without trusting in what an app is telling them they should be feeling and actually listening to their body. And it like the next cycle, it's like, oh my gosh, like my period wasn't as painful because you're leaning into acceptance and you're actually understanding what's going on. It's like I always say it's like any relationship. Like you need to have connection there. Otherwise, it's going to feel icky. It's going to feel like you're not communicating properly. You're going to feel tension. So if you're not like, building that relationship with your cycle, it's going to feel the same in your body because our body is always just our biggest like messenger and is just sharing with us, oh, there's little tweaks that could be taken here to like support you and things like that. That's just a philosophy I have, and I feel like you really just covered that in your answer
Uh,
too.
I love that so much, but we weren't taught this.
Yeah, exactly.
We were taught like if you're irregular or have some pain or it's inconvenient, like just get on the pill and then you can skip it and you don't have to have it and you don't have to worry about it.
Yeah.
But you're losing this whole part, uh, which makes us women, which is our cycles. And so, yeah, there's just, uh, I think it like when you learn it, you're like, I wish I knew this sooner. And it makes so much sense. And what you were saying about connection, it's just, life, I say to people all the time, it's just life's just so much easier now that I'm working with my cycle and my body and I understand it. Like,
Yeah.
it's hard to believe that as women, even as like teenagers, we weren't taught about how our hormones work.
Mm. It's
Yeah.
absolutely wild. Like, starting my journey in all of this and like living in alignment with my cycle, teaching my mum, who's, at the age of going through perimenopause, it's absolutely crazy that she's gone her entire life, but it just wasn't a thing. It was like you just go with life and you just have a painful period and it just sucks because you're a woman.
Yeah.
It's like it just does not have to be that way. And I feel like, yeah, I just love sharing this message and I love the message that like the seed
Yeah.
cycle shares as well. You just mentioned like contraception and how it is like I always say it's like in Australia especially, it's like an initiation into womanhood at this point. Everyone just gets put onto it. We're not really like I know myself, I think I had like maybe two bleeds or something and it was like my cycle was every 2 weeks because, first couple of bleeds, it's just evening out, but the doctor just instantly put me straight on the contraceptive pill and I was on that pill for about 8 years or something. Um, and in that time, I then learned about like living with my cycle and all the things, and kind of my whole world cracked
Mm.
open to, oh my gosh, I can just know what's going on in my body, and then I don't have to take this contraception. And I feel like a lot of women do want to get off the pill. It's a big thing, especially with all the information that is kind of circling around the internet now. Can we dive into that a bit? How seed cycling can support their body to prepare to come off of the pill or
Yeah.
any contraception?
Absolutely. And you're right. It did seem like it was this initiation, but now, like Nat Krangutis talks about this a lot. Like the research is showing that the younger that you're put on the pill, and you're not giving your hormones and your menstrual cycle a chance to mature, the harder it is to get off. And women will come to me in their 30s. I've come off the pill. I feel like I'm a bloody teenager again. Like my skin's like broken out, my moods are all over the place, my periods are irregular, and it is because and then we'll ask like, well, when were you put on it? And it is usually in those formative teen years. And so it's stopped that maturing of that cycle, and that's really scary. So this is where that education as well around like it can take a couple years for your cycle to mature. And there are natural ways that you can support your cycle during that time, and seed cycling is such a powerful way to do that, and particularly coming off the pill as well. So Dr. Brighton has a protocol where she prescribes seed cycling 3 months before you're going to get off, uh,
Hmm.
to prepare your body. And like that just makes so much sense.
Yeah.
Like preparing your body to get off the pill. But again, it's just not spoken about. And particularly like the pill does deplete nutrients. So those nutrients, seed cycling before you get off is going to help build up those nutrients that the pill's depleting. It's going to help your body remember that cyclical rhythm, that's been shut down. And so this is where when you are on the pill, you seed cycle with the moon again. And so then you've got that that rhythm to mimic of that healthy menstrual cycle, and then continue seed cycling when you get off the pill. And then what we'll find, usually within a couple months, your period will return. I always recommend staying with the moon phases, seed cycling, until you see a nice, healthy, regular cycle period, and then switch over, and then you can seed cycle with your own menstrual cycle. So day 1, phase 1 of the seeds, and then day 15, phase 2, or around that ovulation. So yeah,
Yeah.
it's such a powerful way to support your body coming off the pill. And I've had like clients, but now through the seed cycle, like hundreds of women contact me and say like, I was so scared to get off, and then, you know, having something practical I could do to prepare my body, starting to understand what my hormones were going to be like post pill as well. Because you know, you've got to remember, like, if the pill's flatlining your hormones, you're not fluctuating through those different phases as well. So it can be hard in the beginning, where, you know, you're used to kind of being a little bit more, I guess, yeah, like flatlined, and then you go from like menstruating, where you're wanting to turn inwards, you're not socializing as much, you're a bit slower, you know, I'm a bit daydreamy, and then that follicular phase where it's like do, like, I just want to get shit done, I've got so much energy, like everything's like, I want everything clean now, and I want, you know, like, that's a lot. That can feel overwhelming. And then ovulation, you know, you're loving, you're sparkly, you want to socialize, everything's easy, such a beautiful
Yeah.
phase. And then you move into your luteal phase, and then that's that take phase where, you know, you need to take a little bit for yourself. Again, you can feel more sensitive. It's like, I feel like I get these like, I see myself and everyone else through these critical lenses, glasses, when I'm in my luteal phase, you know?
Yeah.
And so when you've just gone from ovulating, everything's amazing, to then feeling a little bit more critical of things, that can be a lot as well. Not to mention the nutrition changes. So, you know, you can go from follicular and ovulation, where you may feel like your appetite's not that big, you don't really feel like crave a lot of carbs or sugar, and then you move into your luteal phase, and it's like, give me all the carbs and sugar, because your body
Yeah.
needs those. You know, I'm talking about complex carbs and like unrefined natural sugars, but, you know, and that can be like, well, what's wrong with me? Last week I was like, didn't feel like I needed to eat much at all, and now all I can think about is the sourdough. Like, but just, you know, that can be a lot coming off, and understanding that rhythm. But it's so beautiful, and you can really work with your cycle. Like, I'm so much more productive now and life's easier than it was before I understood and worked with my hormones and my cycle.
Totally. I agree, like, so much. My productivity is incredible since understanding working with my cycle, because I think some people can view it as like, oh, it's a bit of a limitation if you slow down a little bit around your bleed. But the way that that actually is just like almost putting fuel in the tank to get you even further through the rest of your cycle is like so incredible. You touched on something there, and it's just gone out of my brain. So if I remember it, we'll come back to it.
Sounds good.
It was something around, it came back to me. So if like, say a mum's listening to this and she's got a daughter who's like about to go through puberty and her cycle comes, it's super irregular. Would you recommend seed cycling could be something for a like girl who's just got her cycle?
Absolutely. Like, oh,
Yeah.
what a beautiful introduction to food as medicine, to understanding her cycle in a world that's still very much about like diet culture, restriction, like what you know, calories, deficit. Like,
Yeah.
let's add something in that's going to help. Like,
Yeah.
even on an unconscious level, like, I think it's so great. And then again, like, the actual cycling part of it, where we're giving the body the nutrients it needs, I would recommend using the moon phases. So and that's nice and easy, because then it'll be new moon phase 1, full moon phase 2, and keep cycling those 2 weeks
Yeah.
until they notice that their cycle's nice and regular, and then they can switch over and seed cycle that way. So I have lots of mums who are seed cycling themselves and see all the benefits, and then they'll have this aha moment, and they'll be like, oh my God, can my daughter do this too? And I'm like, yeah. And then there's just so many great ways you can incorporate it for them as well. Like you can just add it into their breakfast, like into a porridge, into a smoothie. Lots of teens love making themselves smoothies. And then at the seed cycle, we have biscuit and brownie mixes. So brownies for phase 1, biscuits for phase 2. And so then they're getting like a healthy snack plus the nutrients in the seeds. And so lots of mums will buy the biscuits and brownies and they're like, that's great, because then they can just grab one and go. And then I know that they've had all those nutrients and a yummy snack. And yeah.
Yeah, and like who doesn't want to just be like eating a brownie or a cookie every day and it's actually good for your health? Like, come on.
I know. It's so again, like I just love it. Like I love that like we're embracing food and moving away from just being scared of it, because that like my teens and my 20s, like it was just like try not to eat, try to be as skinny as you
Yeah.
can, like stay away from the kitchen, stay away from the grocery store. And like that just led me to a really bad relationship with food and my body and disordered eating.
Yeah.
Whereas, if food was like embraced and understood and, really that understanding of like whole foods and what is nourishing and what is going to fill me up, like, the brownies and the biscuits, because they're made with the beautiful seeds with all those nutrients. Plus then I use almond meal and rapadura sugar, which is like an unrefined cane sugar and the best sugar in my books. Like it fills you up, and it's not one of those snacks that then you end up having like the whole lot and yeah, because it's not highly processed.
Hmm.
And so yeah, it's just like I'm actually satisfied and I've enjoyed it and it's nourishing. Mm.
Yeah. And like it really is making the experience less triggering as well, I feel, because food is triggering for a lot of people. So is like our body image, all of those things that you've touched on so far in this conversation. Whereas cycling with seeds, it's building that trust with yourself and it's understanding all like your phases, but it's also allowing the transition of whatever phase, whatever transition is, whether it's into puberty, whether it's through menopause, whether it's coming off of the pill, all these transitions,
Mhm.
it's allowing that almost safety net to just be like in that balanced state so that it doesn't have to be such an overwhelming and triggering thing and you can actually like build even more connection to yourself. And I love that so,
Mm.
so much. I think it's really cool and just so beautiful. Like you said at the start, nature always has the answers. You said something along the lines of that, and I
Mm.
totally agree with that. And it's like, this is just proving that point of like, we are nature. When you connect back to nature, you're just going to feel so good.
Yeah, absolutely. And I will say, like, seed cycling isn't a quick fix and it's not a magic bullet. It's something that you've got to do consistently. Yeah, within the first month, like I said, people will notice, oh, my stomach feels really good. I'm feeling less bloated. My skin's feeling really bright. But for those hormone modulation, and for some of those symptoms like the irregular periods, the hormonal acne, the mood irregularities, the painful periods as well, it's going to take at least 3 months of regular seed cycling. And there might be some other things as well, like that's the other thing. I think that sometimes we think that, there is just that one solution. Like I had someone come to me and say, I've been working with an acupuncturist and they've given me these herbs, but I'm going to stop the herbs and start seed cycling. So then, because otherwise I won't know what's worked. And it's like, no, do both, because both is
Yeah.
probably going to work
Yeah.
together, So I think we can be really black and white, and we do want to know like what's the thing that worked, but it's never just one thing. It's going to be your seeds plus understanding your cycle plus your food, and then also your environment, and then your nervous system, and like there's so many parts to it. But usually when I am introducing seed cycling to women, and like I'm sure your listeners, like they're already on the journey, you're already doing the things, and it's like you add seed cycling in and it's just that missing puzzle piece, and it's what gets you to that next level, like where you want to be with your health and your energy and your vibrancy and all of that.
And creativity and just
Yeah,
everything. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
You mentioned a couple of times about the process of seeds needing to be blended up or crushed up. You used a
Yeah.
way more formal word, but I just can't remember it. Um, could we just get into a little bit of So how do like the let me restart that question. What's the most beneficial way for women to be actually consuming the seeds for them to be working properly with their cycle and with their body?
Yes, great question. So we always look at the research and also what the experts are doing. And the research is very clear that the seeds are ground up, and this is so your body can absorb the nutrients. So we take the seeds through a cold milling process, which is basically just grinding them up into, people like, oh, is it a powder? Is it, it's not, we don't grind it that fine. I like to have them so they still have a little bit of crunch to them, but we're breaking the shells, and particularly for flaxseed and sesame seed. If you don't grind them up, they just go, like, they go straight through, and your body's not accessing the nutrients are inside the shell. So the ground up is really important. And then the other thing is the therapeutic dosage. So we're using the therapeutic dosage that the experts are using that has been used in the studies, which is 1 tablespoon of each seed ground up. So for phase 1, you're having 1 tablespoon ground of flax, 1 tablespoon ground of pumpkin, and then phase 2, the sunflower and sesame. And so to make it easy with our products, you get a scoop, and then it's just 1 scoop. And then in terms of like when and how to take it, it's totally up to you. There's no time of day in particular. The morning's great, because then you're getting all the beautiful nutrients for your day. And but really, like, sometimes I'll have it as dessert with yogurt, and so you can have it in a smoothie on top of yogurt. You can have it with a salad. You can pop it in your dinner as a toast topper. Like, really, they're so versatile. And that's another part that I just love about it, is that it is food and you can add it into your meals. Like, so many people say, Mel, I've got a cupboard full of supplements gathering dust, I don't take them. But this I've been able to do, and I look forward to it, and it's keeping me fuller, longer, and I love the taste of them. And so yeah, it is, particularly for those people who, I'm not anti-supplements, but again, like, it works so well because our bodies recognize the nutrients in those seeds, but also, so many people just struggle to take supplements, and then the quality of the supplements, we don't know how much of it our bodies recognize is being absorbed. And this is where, like, so many people say, oh, it sounds too good to be true. But again, like, nature is so clever.
Yes.
And our bodies recognize those nutrients.
I love putting my seeds through like avo, like making a guac for avo on toast, because it's just like so good. And like
Yeah.
porridge, like you said, porridge and like smoothies, and like even just on top of curries and stuff, like a dukkha. It's honestly it's so versatile, seed cycling. I think it just takes that step into like the, okay, I'll give it a go, and then
Yeah.
seeing like the benefits and all the things and how easy it is to it just like amps up your food. It just makes your food even more exciting.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's a big thing as well. People say, I feel fuller for longer. And it's like, yeah, those beautiful, like, fatty acids as well, and omegas are filling you up, particularly when you're adding it to like a carb, like complex carb, like porridge. You
Mm.
add some of those seeds in, and it's just, yeah, it takes it to a whole nother level.
Yeah.
Mm.
So you've pretty much like, we've gone into like um irregular cycles, coming off of contraception, supporting women in all these different phases. So women, who are experiencing hormonal acne, like you don't have to have all of these symptoms to do it. You can have just one, right?
Totally. And also, unfortunately, I read something that said we're living in the most toxic time in the world's history, and there's endocrine disrupting chemicals all over our environment. And so especially in this modern world, we need to support our hormones. And seed cycling is such a great way to do that. So, unfortunately, I don't hear it often, but when someone does say, oh yeah, my cycle's pretty regular, and I'm pretty good with my hormones, like, I'm just like, go you, firstly. But secondly, like, still add those seeds in. That it's going to give you those extra nutrients, it's going to give you that extra support, it's going to help your body eliminate those xenoestrogens, or those endocrine disrupting chemicals that mimic estrogen. and are taxing on our bodies. And then also, like, I'm 37. I'm thinking a lot about preparing my body for perimenopause.
Yeah.
And, the best way to do that is to have a healthy cycle and cycle as long as you can. So seed cycling's going to be even more important for me moving through my 40s and menopause.
Yeah, and that's another thing that I see, like, here with just like older women is how menopause is so painful and it sucks
Oh,
and
it's
it
horrific for some. Like, it's so
it
hard.
is, but there's such a lack of education again, which is so unfortunate. And I feel like it'll be really cool to see your journey over the
Mm.
years of like how your body moves through menopause in supporting your hormones because yeah, our environment is very toxic. And I actually have a previous episode on like the chemicals and like fragrances with someone who I got on the podcast because I'm so passionate about that too. Just like, household cleaners, everything, it all impacts our cycle so much more than a lot of us realize because it's so normalized to just spray perfume straight on your thyroid and then clean your shower with bleach. It's just what
Yeah.
we do, right?
Yeah.
Um, and it's sometimes hard to go, oh my gosh, is it my environment that's like causing these issues? But like you said, just adding those seeds in and just supporting your body is the best thing that you can do. And I also really love the part how you said, even if you're feeling really good, still add them because we don't necessarily have to come from pain to want to elevate ourselves.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yes, I love that. It's so true. But unfortunately now, like, to be honest, every woman I speak to is struggling. And the stats are now 90% of women globally struggle with a hormone imbalance.
Yeah.
And it's only 5% in men. And interestingly, like through conversations, the first thing I'll usually ask a woman is like, "How are your hormones?" And yeah, so sometimes I say, "Yeah, they're fine," but then as we go on in conversation, I'm like, "Oh, I get so moody before my period. Oh,
Yeah.
I get breakouts, or I get this hormonal migraine, and I have to take painkillers, and then I have to, you know." explain to them that they're all signs that there's an imbalance, and that goes back to these symptoms are common, but
Mm.
they're not normal, and I think that some of that is just intergenerational of like, it's part of being a woman, periods are cursed, just suck it up, get on with it, and that's not good enough. When you're having these symptoms, it's a sign that there's an imbalance, and unfortunately, if you leave that for a long period of time, it can lead to really serious health consequences.
Yeah.
And I don't say that to scare people. I say that because we need to know. And too many of us are just sucking it up, taking a painkiller, or just band-aiding it with a pill.
Yeah.
I'll deal with it later, and then it's even harder later.
Yes.
Yeah.
Um, I would love to move into a little bit of questions around like fertility, seed
Mhm.
cycling, if there's much, research around that, if it's something that you've like incorporated as a method with clients and yeah, moving into pregnancy and then lactating, because I know a lot of women, I've had a couple of women just like chatting to me about getting their cycle back after um having a child, and also a lot of women struggle with actually lactating. And I just am so curious to hear how seed cycling could maybe fit into all of this as well.
Yeah, well, one of the first clients that I got seed cycling fell pregnant pretty quickly after seed cycling. And she was like, "Mel, I think it was the seeds." Uh, and at the time I was like, "Oh, maybe, I don't know, really cool." But now, like, oh gosh, like, we get messages all the time with like positive pregnancy tests, with ultrasound photos, and it makes sense that seed cycling is such a great way to support your fertility because it's helping regulate your cycle, it's helping balance out estrogen and progesterone, it's helping cervical mucus and a healthy ovulation, all the things we need for conception. Fertility and infertility is complex and challenging, and I would never want someone to put off going to see a doctor or a specialist and be like, "Oh, I'll see if seed cycling works." No, no. You seed cycle and then you go also see a specialist.
Yeah.
Do all the things that you need to do. But yeah, add seed cycling in. It can really support that, your hormones and that healthy ovulation. And there is studies to support, again, like that estrogen and progesterone modulation with the seeds. The seed cycling as a practice research is mainly with PCOS, which is those results are incredible. Like I'm saying to women now, like if you have PCOS and you haven't read that study and you're not seed cycling, like you need to, because there was like 36% reduction in cyst degeneration, like really good improvements in hormones and weight and insulin resistance, and really good. But
I
also,
might leave
yeah,
that, sorry, just to butt in. I
that's
might
right.
leave that study below in the like podcast notes because it's on your website and I've actually like read through it myself because you posted over on Instagram like a while ago about it and I was like, oh, this is so interesting to me that they're, taking this seriously and there's actually studies for it. And it can be that because, a lot of women do face like these PCOS endo, but then they find it hard to trust in something else because so many things don't work for them.
Yeah.
And having this study for the PCOS was like, it's so empowering for women to go, actually, I might give this a go. And it could just be that thing that they do really need.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes, please share that. And on our website as well, we have a whole page dedicated to science and research. And I'm continually updating that as new science comes in, which is
Beautiful.
really great. Your question about seed cycling for through pregnancy and postpartum as well, like just such a beautiful nutrient support during pregnancy. Recently, sesame seeds were added on the government health website as a medium risk for salmonella. So what we do at the seed cycle, which may be a concern for some people pregnant, so what we do at the seed cycle now, we test every batch of some sesame seeds, for salmonella before we manufacture them, just because I would never want someone to stop seed cycling because they were worried about that risk, because there are so many nutrients in it, and particularly if you were seed cycling and then conceived, it'd be really good for you to continue that seed cycling. It just will look a bit different, obviously, because you're not having a bleed. So you would seed cycle with the moon phases. Some women during pregnancy like to add all 4 seeds in as well each day, which can work. But I really like the idea of having that moon rhythm while you're pregnant. And then postpartum as well, like what a beautiful way to support your hormones to get all those nutrients. Flax seeds in particular are one of the seeds that can support breast milk production. And then I know, those hormones postpartum go on a roller coaster. So having the grounding of the moon phases, that rhythm, and then all those nutrients supporting your cycle to come back when it's ready. So many women, particularly like with their second or third babies, have now seed cycled and they're like, oh gosh, it was so good. Like compared to my first one where I wasn't doing it, like they really noticed a difference seed cycling postpartum, which is great.
I love that you test your sesame seeds for salmonella because I feel like pregnancy brings a lot of fears and brings a lot of, is this right for me? Should I do this? Should I not do this? You're not sure which decision to make. And that's just like takes it away. It's like you can continue.
Yeah. And, like particularly like through pregnancy, like we always say, like work with your GP or your practitioner and just make sure it feels right for you. But I just want to do, like you said, like just take away as many of those insecurities, or just the, people being unsure of what I can have, what I can't. And because for a while they added tahini, but not sesame seeds. And then now they've added sesame seeds. And to be honest, I don't really know why, but we're just like, okay, what can we do about this? Let's test them.
And so if a woman has gone through her pregnancy already, she's in postpartum and she's like, okay, my cycle still hasn't come back. There must be something going on with my body. She's not wanting to, necessarily take the medicinal route. She's interested in seed cycling. Is it still something that's like really beneficial at that phase, even though she might not have had it through her whole pregnancy?
Yeah, absolutely. Like what a great way to start to help bring back your cycle. Postpartum, it's just known for that postpartum depletion as well, which I experienced. That's just so hard, and you don't really realize until you're months and months in, and super depleted. So postpartum, bringing seed cycling in, getting those nutrients, using that rhythm of the moon to support your cycle to come back. Oh, so good.
Yeah. We'll wrap this up in a moment, but I really just want to add, like, I just love the moon, and I've always just loved the moon, even prior to understanding any of this. Like, it was literally my first word when I was a baby. And then when I like realized that like the moon and our cycle is so intertwined and all of this, and being able to track yeah, with the moon phases in times when, you know, your cycle is irregular, you might not have a cycle, it honestly is a game changer because we still need, like, we're always going to be, you know, through that ebb and flow of going through a cycle. And when you don't have a regular cycle, using the moon is just so powerful because you get to still release, you still get to have that inward energy, you get to tune into the changes. And it honestly, I know it's woo woo, but like, I mean, everyone on my podcast knows I'm woo woo anyway, but it's like, it's actually just so much more powerful than, you know, you could hear it and go, oh yeah, whatever. But it is so much more powerful than you
It,
realize. Like the moon
oh,
controls the ocean tides. You like, you know, like it's powerful.
yes, I love that you've said that. We're cyclical beings, and as women in particular, when we're menstruating, our dominant rhythm is our menstrual cycle. But when we're not menstruating or post-menopause, the next dominant rhythm is the moon. So women will say to me, Mel, I was a bit unsure, but oh my gosh, I feel so much more grounded, and then all the benefits. And also I will add, because a lot of them are like, I don't even know how to know, like, how do I know when the moon's full? It's super easy. Just Google it. There's like different websites. We also send out a reminder on for our email subscribers on a full moon and a new moon. So every 2 weeks, so you know, okay, it's a full moon, switch to phase 2. It's a new moon, switch to phase 1. And then once, like you said, like once you're a moon gal, you're always a moon gal. Like it's forever. But you know, I look at my kids and like when they see the moon, they are so excited, because I love what you said about like moon being your first word. Like it brings them so much joy. Like they're like, Mom, it's a full moon. Like
Yeah.
it's like you know, I'm like, what's wrong? It's a full moon. It brings them so much excitement. So I think there is something within that as well. That's just the cyclical side of things that, yeah, the innate wisdom that
Yeah.
it brings.
Yeah. It's so special.
Mm.
Oh, thank you. This has been so educational. I feel like everyone listening has just got so much out of that whole episode, myself included. Like I knew about seed cycling, I knew bits about it. I feel like you just went so deep, but so empowering in the same sense. Like it was really, you know, able to take in that information, understand what you were saying. Is there anything else that you would love to add before we wrap up the episode?
Oh, I would just like to say thank you so much. And for anyone who's listening and is interested in starting but not sure how to get started or not sure if it's right for them, if they go to our website, there's a free quiz they can take. And we also offer mini nutrition consults as well, like 15-minute mini consults where you can chat to our nutritionist, Serena. She's incredible, and go through your circumstances, and she can guide you in terms of how to get started with seed cycling.
Amazing. And
Yeah.
so where can everyone actually find you?
Theseedcycle.com.au. I love to hang out on Instagram, which is the _seed_cycle. And I share lots of recipes there as well. Like that's my favorite thing. I would never want anyone to get like stop seed cycling because they got bored of it. Like I'm going to show you so many ways you can seed cycle. And we're always sharing, like you said, like studies and research and trying to educate as much as we can.
Yeah, and your website does have so much information. Like anyone who's a bit skeptical, like you said, you have a whole page of research, but even just going through, like, there's so much information on all the products. And I think that is also really incredible. And you know, you can go take the quiz, like you said, like it's all there. You just have
Yeah.
to press the button and yeah. Thank you so much for coming on the podcast. That was just incredible. And I'm so grateful that we were able to have this conversation. Thank you so much. And thank you everyone who is listening. And we'll be back, or I'll be back in your ears next week. Bye.
Thanks.